Hey everybody. Hey, look at me with my orangey pink, orangey kind of peach background color. Fancy. Hi. How are we doing? It looks like there are lots of people in the chat here. This is great. Lots of people. Who's here? Zainab is here. Rosa, CF Teaching, Vivek, Diego. Saw August Liam's here. Navjot, good to see ya. Pascoa, Eldorian. Wow, so many people. Stephen, Bata, Astha's here. Clara, good to see ya. All right. Lots of people. Hi. Anthony, hi. Rohit, Diari. All right. Selma, hi. Now I've got a little bit of a cold. You might be able to tell that my voice sounds a little bit funny. I'm going to try to keep the volume down here because if I speak too loudly, my voice starts to crack and I sound like a teenager. But that's okay. Art Wirapong from Thailand. Hey, how are you? Trey Brown is here. Hello. I'm going to try not to cough on you guys, okay? Good to see everybody. Lots of familiar names, familiar faces, kind of, I guess. And looks like some new people as well. So if you're new, if this is your first time, hi, I'm Shaun, and I'm going to be your teacher for the next hour or so. All right. I'm coming to you live from Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver in a studio at the Canadian College of English Language in downtown Vancouver. I'm hiding from the rain. Actually, I don't know if it's raining out there now, but it's nice and warm in here. And I'm glad to see you guys. And it's always good to come in here every Thursday morning and hang out with you. Moaz is saying this is your first time. Awesome. Good. Always good to see new people in the chat. Okay, so we're going to get started in a minute. As always, as usual, if you have questions or comments or anything like that during the class, put your questions and your comments in the chat, and I will try my best to answer them as quickly as I can, as often as I can, okay? As best as I can, of course. If I miss a question, just put it in there, and of course you guys are free to help each other, right? You can help each other and answer some of each other's questions. And of course, if you are new to the class, a little bit later on, I'm going to be asking you some questions, and I would like you to put your answers in the chat. Okay, Ekaterina, hi. Hey, Trey Brown, good to see you. Gihan from Sri Lanka, awesome. Okay, so let's jump into the lesson here. How about it? I'm good, thanks. As I said, I'm a little got a little bit of a cold. It's just that time of year, right? I think I'm just going to be sick for 6 months or so, but I'll live. I'll be okay. I've got some water here. I've got some coffee here. I'm going to alternate, and I'm going to get through it with your help. As I said, I'm going to try not to cough right into the mic here, guys. Okay. All right. So today is a vocabulary lesson, hoping to expand your vocabulary a little bit. For some of you, some of this stuff is going to be words that you have seen before, but maybe not thought about as to where the words come from. Okay, so today's vocabulary lesson, as I mentioned on Facebook, if you guys saw that. Valerie's here. Hey. All right. So let's get started. But first, in order to start, I'm going to do something I like to do in my classes with my students. I like to ask silly questions. I like to ask obvious questions. Okay, so we're going to start with some very obvious questions. All right? And the questions are always going to start the same way. The question is, what is the noun for this? Okay, so what's the noun for when a plane takes off? That moment when the plane leaves the ground, when a plane takes off, what's the noun for that verb, take off? Alex is here from the Ukraine. Hey, good to see the Ukraine in the chat. All right, so when a plane takes off, what's the noun? The noun is takeoff. Okay? The verb is take off. the noun for that verb is take off, right? Steve Lynn got it too. Good. Aldorian, yeah, absolutely. Good, good, good. Raul's from Colombia. Awesome. So, take off is take off. How about another obvious question? And then I'll tell you why I'm asking these obvious questions. What do you call the noun for when a style goes away for a while and then it starts to come back, right? So if a color or a certain style from the past starts to come back, what's the noun for that? It is a comeback, okay? So if a style makes a comeback, that's the noun for comeback, right? Well, a fad, a fad could be a kind of a comeback, Trey. Good. Okay, so comeback is the verb, comeback is the noun, all right? I think you guys see where I'm heading with this. Two more obvious questions here, and then I'll tell you why. When people start a protest by walking out of school or work, when they say enough is enough, we are going to walk out of here and protest in the streets. She does have too much pink in her closet, I know. She's waiting for pink to make a comeback, I think. Okay. So when people walk out of school, when they walk out of work in order to protest for some reason, what is that noun? That noun is called a walkout, okay? Or walking out, as Anthony and Selma says. So walking out or just a walkout is the noun, okay? One more obvious question. What do you call it when you think the government is trying to cover up the truth, right? When you think maybe there are aliens out there and the government knows that there are aliens, but they're trying to cover up the truth. What do you call that? You call that paranoia. No. Well, maybe. You're right. It's a little joke for my own enjoyment. But you call that a cover-up, okay? A cover-up. It could be paranoia, but it could be the truth, all right? Liars, Dorian says. Yeah, right. Okay. So why am I asking these obvious questions? Well, obviously, I'm asking because the focus of today's class is on these nouns that we use in English that come from phrasal verbs. So there are lots of nouns that we use all the time that we form these nouns just by putting phrasal verbs together. Some of you can't believe I'm asking these questions? I love obvious questions, yeah? They're my favorite kind. All right, so Shavakumar is saying what? What's he saying? From Bangalore, India, and my teaching has helped improve your English writing skills. Well, that's really nice to hear, Shiva Kumar. Thank you very much for that. That's great. Well, hopefully I can help you out a little bit more today, because what we're talking about is good for writing and spoken English as well. Okay? So, today, as I said, we're talking about putting phrasal verbs together to form nouns. Very common in English. We use them all the time. But it's important to know that sometimes when you put those phrasal verbs together to form a noun, you can sometimes change the sound. The pronunciation of the word may change slightly, and we'll talk about that today in a bit. And sometimes it can change the meaning, and not just going from verb to noun, but sometimes putting them together will actually change the meaning. Is that Andre? I can read a little bit of Russian. Okay, I can tell what your name is in the chat. Hi, Andre. All right. So, where are we going to start? Now let's go back through here and look at some examples of how we use these. So, I get nervous when a plane is about to take off. That's actually not true. I'm typically okay when I'm on the plane. I get nervous about making the plane on time, but some people get nervous when the plane is about to take off. You have the option of, instead of using that phrasal verb, yeah, Ukraine, yeah, right. Andre's from Ukraine, absolutely. So you have the option here of using a noun instead to express it in a slightly different way and say, I often get nervous during takeoff. Okay? Same meaning, just slightly different sentence. And of course, in this class, I'm always talking about expanding your range of vocabulary and showing your teachers kind of what you can do with the language. Okay, so, right, I get nervous when the plane is going to take off. I get nervous during takeoff. It's the same thing. Let's look at another one. Now, if you wait long enough, your old clothes will come back in style. Maybe that's wishful thinking, maybe. But yeah, if you've got some old clothes, don't get rid of them. Hold on to them, because maybe someday they'll make a comeback. I wonder which styles will make a comeback next year, right? Again, same idea. One's a verb, one's a noun. Okay? Also, you'll notice that the way that you tell the difference, obviously, is the phrasal verb, there's a space, and in the noun, there's no space. You're just putting them together as a compound noun there. Takeoff makes you nervous, Aldorian? Yeah? Yeah, you're not alone there. So the word comeback is a good one, because you can talk about fashion with comeback. You can talk about sports, right? Somebody is losing the match, and then they make a comeback and they win. Or someone is losing many matches and has a bad year, but then the next year they make a comeback and they win some championships. CF Teaching is saying, as a noun, how do we write them? Yeah, no, exactly. And you're asking when to use a hyphen and when not to. Good questions, and I will answer those in a couple minutes. Okay, this is good. Good questions. So students are planning to walk out of class in protest. Again, you can use the noun and say, the walkout is scheduled to take place at noon tomorrow. And hey, Marianne, hi. This is a really common use of it. Yeah, I even hear my voice is starting to go. I'm getting too excited here. I have to use my talk radio voice, right? My calm, relaxing voice. This is how you will see these nouns used often. You will see it introduced as a verb and then followed up as a noun, right? If you're reading a news story, you say, exactly, look, Steve Lynn's, you're always one step ahead of me, Steve. Exactly. These nouns are often used in the media. That's exactly what I'm about to say, is these two sentences you would see back to back together in some kind of news story. Absolutely. The walkout is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Steve, always keeping me on my toes. Good for you. All right, and people are accusing the government of trying to cover up the truth. That's a common accusation, I think, for most governments. And then, of course, you can use it as the noun and say, many claim that there was a cover-up. Okay? A cover-up. Now, type 1 of these phrasal verbs turning into nouns that we're talking about today, all of the examples that I just showed you are verbs plus a preposition together, right? Cover up, walk out, right? Verb plus preposition. For example, take out, right? Take out, pizza, or work out, exercise, right? Mukhtar is asking claim. To claim means to say something but not have proof necessarily. You can't prove it, but you say that you think it's true. That's a claim, okay? Work out is another common noun from a phrasal verb. Now, getting back to your questions about hyphens or no hyphens, sometimes it's a choice, okay? Now, oftentimes you will see people use a hyphen, like this guy, if you've got two vowels next to each other, okay? Because sometimes people don't like putting too many vowels next to each other in a compound noun, okay? But that said, it's very common to see this word take out put together with no hyphen. It's perfectly acceptable, and maybe even these days might be a little bit more common. So it's really kind of up to you. This is okay and this is okay, okay, for the compound nouns. Typically, if there's some kind of consonant and then vowel, or two consonants together, like K and O. O is a vowel, obviously, but K is the consonant. You don't need the hyphen. You just put them together, That's the general rule, okay? Either way is okay, CF teaching. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah? Okay, now the tip, before I get you guys to do a little bit of work. Oh yeah, Selma, you're saying which do I prefer? I think I naturally would put a hyphen on takeout, but not workout. That's my preference. I mean, I would work out, but I wouldn't put a hyphen there, all right? So the tip for today, when talking about these nouns as phrasal verbs, is that you have to watch the pronunciation, right? And again, Steve, it's like Steve is existing 5 seconds in the future, somehow. So he's listening very carefully to the pronunciation. That's exactly it. Steve, you're reading my mind here. It's amazing. All right. So watch your pronunciation. Now this is important because this this is the kind of thing that teachers will test you on. They'll try to trick you. If you do an IELTS test, for example, it is common for them to throw a phrasal verb or one of these nouns in there to see if you can tell the difference between the verb and the noun. It's just a coincidence, Steve? I don't know. I think you're trying to cover up the truth. I think you've got special powers. It's a cover-up. All right, so it's, as I said, it's a common way of testing your listening skills to use a noun or a verb to see if you can tell the difference, right? So, yeah, make up. Make up. You see that space there? There's a space. 2 words means it is a phrasal verb, right? If there's a space, if you see it in writing, you know that if there's a space there, it's the verb, okay? If you see it together, make up is the noun. Now the difference in pronunciation, right, as Claire is saying, is all about the stress, okay? And the stress is just typically on opposite syllables, right? So for the verb, you are going to stress the preposition, okay? And say to make up. After you and your friend have a fight, afterwards, hopefully you will make up, okay? Or if you invent a story to tell somebody, you make up a story, okay? So this is where the stress is for the verbs. For the nouns, it's the opposite. For the nouns, you're going to put the stress on the first syllable, which in this case is the verb, okay? And you're going to say make up, right? So the stronger syllable, Eldorian saying, where's my makeup? Exactly. You've got that stress on the first one, okay? And that's the trick. So 2 things on a test that they're going to kind of, well, test you on is your ability to hear the difference in stress and maybe your ability to write down these words properly, because if you put a space, you're writing a verb. If there's no space, it's a noun. So it's very common for teachers to try to trick you in this way. And Andre is saying, as a verb is also a multi-part word because there are parts of the nouns which means verb. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Andre. Can you try to clarify that? Can you clear that up for me so that I'm not sure about that, okay? So, oh yeah, I just gave you one more example of, obviously you guys know makeup as in lipstick and eyeshadow, eyeliner, and all that wonderful stuff to make you look pretty or scary for Halloween, for example. But this is a different kind of makeup called like your genetic makeup, meaning what you are made up of genetically, your genetic composition. Yeah, it is important information for a test. I think so. I think I try to give you guys important information. Thanks, CF Teaching. Okay, so Moaz is saying, can every phrasal verb be turned into a noun? No, that's kind of the trick, and that's kind of the difficult part about classes like this based on vocabulary is there's such a long list of phrasal verbs and such a long list of nouns that we can make from phrasal verbs. But you can really never say always or all phrasal verbs, but there are a lot of them. Absolutely. And you're saying, can you combine two consonants? Yes. Yes, you can. I would say so. And we'll see some examples of that. OK, so I've been talking too much. I'm going to give my voice a rest. All right, I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to take this link here, and I will put it into the chat. Oops, there we go. OK. So I've put the link to this exercise in the chat. You can open that up, follow the link, open it up, and make a copy. Or you can simply look on the screen, because I'm going to make it nice and big for everybody to see. Okay, I want you guys to do a little bit of practice with these nouns from phrasal verbs, specifically the nouns that start with the verb and then the preposition. Okay, so you've got set back, break up, get together, lots of different types. Now you'll notice here, to answer maybe Anthony's question, two consonants together, break down. I would put them together, cut back, put them together, right? Let down, put them together. Now, I would probably hyphenate that because it's just the same letter, just to make it clearer. Okay, if it's T and T, put a hyphen there. Okay, so follow the link, look on here, and what I'd like you guys to do, I'm going to jump out of the screen, give my voice a rest, drink some coffee and some water, and I want you to take one of the phrasal verb nouns here, and I want you to replace the text in blue, in some cases one word, in other cases larger phrases. And I would like you to replace the noun with that text in blue. So the first one we'll do together as one big happy internet family. Okay? So A says, there was quite a large number of people in attendance for the event despite the lack of organization. Now, which of these nouns stemming from phrasal verbs could be used to replace a large number of people in attendance? So the number of people that, what should we say? The number of people who turn out for an event is, well, exactly what I just said, this guy here. So you copy that, bring it down here, and now you've got, there was quite a turnout for the event despite the lack of organization. And Kieran got in there first, absolutely. Okay, good for you. So the turnout means the number of people who turn out for an event, or in other words, attend, come to. Okay, so that's number, or letter A. You've got 6 more, and I think I put an extra one in here just to be mean, basically, just to, no, not to be mean, to challenge you, right? So I'm going to hop out. I'm going to put the music on. Please put your answers in the chat. You don't have to put the whole sentence. You could just put the letter and then the word, okay? As I said, I'm going to give my voice a rest, and I'm going to make you guys do some work, okay? So get to it. All right, you guys are doing very well. Lots of good stuff coming in the chat. So many answers, and so fast. I didn't really get much of a break at all. But that's my problem. All right, good for you. So I know that some of you aren't quite done, but that's okay. I just want to make sure that we get through all of this stuff today. So let's see. B. We said he experienced quite a few problems that made progress difficult early in his career, but eventually became very successful. So, who got it? Let's see. Kieran, yeah, you got it. And Astha, you got it as well. I think a bunch of Zainab, good for you. All right, so I would say problems that make progress difficult, things that kind of get in your way and set you back, are called setbacks, right? So I'm going to put that here. Now the one thing I will change is because I say a few, I'm going to put the S there, right? And say he experienced quite a few setbacks early in his career, right? Rosa got it. Good for you. Good, good, good. All right. What about the next one? And again, if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, feel free to put it in the chat. Ibrahim, you got B as well. Good for you. Yes, I see some people thought that B would be breakdown. Now, okay, he experienced quite a few breakdowns in his career. Now, okay, I'll come back to that because that's maybe possible. Depends on the meaning of the word breakdown, I guess. I'll come back to that. Okay. Now, C. We said the government's decision to make reductions in funding to public schools was harshly criticized. Who's got an answer for C here? All right, Eldorian, yeah, nailed it. Who else? Vivek, good for you. All right, Rabbi too, okay. Yeah, so cut back is a phrasal verb that means to reduce. If you say, I need to cut back on my on the amount of sugar in my diet, right? So the noun would be cut back, reductions. Now again, like B, I would put an S on that just because the original sentence was plural. Reductions becomes cutbacks, okay? To cut something back. Good. All right, D. Both sides are to blame for the failure in communication, as neither party was willing to compromise. Clara nailed it. Good for you. All right, good stuff. Rabbi, good. You got it. Rosa, good, good, good. Who else got it? Zainab, I think you got it too. Okay, so failure in communication in this case, some kind of failure to function properly is to break down. Now, if you say communication broke down, that's your phrasal verb. If communication breaks down, it is a breakdown in communication. Now, the noun breakdown is a useful one because you can apply it to different things, right? Let me pop into my notes and say something like, we had a breakdown on the side of the road. And now in this case, if you have a breakdown on the side of the road, you're probably talking about your car, right? Your car had a breakdown. But breakdown can also mean kind of a mental and emotional collapse as well. If you say, my teacher had a breakdown, in the middle of class. So if you say my teacher had a breakdown, it's talking about some kind of nervous breakdown, an emotional loss of control, right? So your teacher starts to cry uncontrollably, falls down in the corner and starts to shake. Maybe you say your teacher had a breakdown. Okay, hopefully you will not witness me having a breakdown on a live class on the internet. Hopefully. That's all I hope for. That's my greatest fear, okay, is having a breakdown. So therefore, and I think I'm going back to maybe Selma said it, if you put breakdown here and said he experienced quite a few breakdowns early in his career, it's possible, but I think for the whole sentence itself, setbacks kind of makes more sense. All right. Steve Lynn is saying separable and non-separable phrasal verbs can be turned into nouns. Yes. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Think about set back, for example, could be separable, right? You can set him back, right? Or you can cut back on something. So both can be used. Good question. Okay. All right, so what about E? A bunch of my classmates had a small party. So who got this one? What'd you say? Clara nailed it, I think, for E. Yeah, good for you. All right, who else? Rabbi got it, good. Good. So when you have a party, you get together with your friends, of course. So a party is a get together. Sometimes in English, we use the term get together when we want to make it sound like a modest party. If someone says, I hear you're having a party tomorrow, you say, oh, no, it's not a party, just a little get together. It means it's not, nobody's going to be dancing on tables or anything. It's just a bunch of people sitting around drinking soda and playing board games, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you guys do at your get-togethers. All right, that could be a good question for the chat. What do you do at a get-together? Now, F. He was quite depressed for some time after the end of his marriage. Now, obviously, you've got two words in here with the word break in it, and that should be a hint. Now, break up is a phrasal verb that I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with. I mean, just the meaning of it. Hopefully, you're not too familiar with it. All right. So the noun is the breakup of his marriage, the divorce, the end of his marriage, unfortunately. And Omar, you nailed it. Good for you. All right. Which means the last one is either knock off or let down. Now, if you think about the phrasal verb let down and how it's used, if you say, you really let me down, right? You don't like get-togethers, Selma? Yeah, it depends. Maybe you just haven't been to the right one. Kieran loves playing board games. Good. Cool. Here in Vancouver, we have a kind of a bar, kind of cafe, where it's just people playing board games. They just go and they have a drink or have some food and play board games with strangers. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. All right, so disappointment is let down. Who got let down? Not who was let down, but who got the answer? Let down. Anybody? Yeah, Zainab got it. Good for you. Selma got it too. All right. And Rosa. And Leanne. Good for you, Leanne. All right, so disappointment there. Let me go up here. The phrasal verb is you let me down. Therefore, the noun is let down. It was a tremendous letdown, a tremendous disappointment. So, good question. Now, people are asking about the word knock off. Now, knock off isn't quite as obvious a meaning because the verb knock off out of context is, it's not that clear. But a knock off is a fake product. Okay, so if somebody makes say an iPhone, for example, but it's not a real iPhone, it's an imitation, fake, counterfeit iPhone, then that is a knockoff. So, for example, if you say, she bought a knock-off handbag in New York, for example. Okay? Now, if you say she knocked off my presentation, that's a little bit unnatural, I'd say that. I don't think I would say she knocked off my presentation, but lots of people try to knock off certain big brands. It's really about the brand, right, that you try to knock off. But in this case, it means imitation. Moaz is saying, are all nouns derived from phrasal verbs countable? Ooh, good question. Yeah, Leanne got imitate. That's right. I would say most, but I hesitate to say the word all. Some of them might sound a little bit awkward in the plural, but that's a good question. You kind of stumped me there a little bit, to be honest. But as for most rules in language, I hesitate to say all. Okay, I don't. There may be some exceptions, but I would say definitely most would be able to be plural or singular. All right, good question. Rosa, what was your question? Which one is preferable in writing, party or get together? Really, I think in writing, either one is fine, Rosa, because party isn't really a formal word. Get together isn't formal, so I think both are fine. Now, Vivek is saying the boxer knocked me off with one kick. Maybe, but you probably mean he knocked you out. To knock out means to hit someone and make them unconscious. All right. These are some good questions, but I've got more to teach you guys. So I'm gonna go in here. Okay, I'm gonna go back into my presentation because you're welcome, Rosa. Because we've got more silly questions. Okay, 2 more silly questions. A KO, Selma says, exactly, right. Silly questions. All right, now I want to show you another form of noun formed from phrasal verbs. Okay, so what's the noun for? What do you call how much of something, like food or water or drugs or air, is taken into your body? What's the noun that we use for how much food you take in to your body? Alejandra's here. Hi, don't worry about the lateness. All right. Now this one might be a little bit less common than some of the other nouns, but CF Teaching got it, Selma got it, you're absolutely right. It is intake. Okay, so the noun intake means kind of like consumption, right? How much of something. So you should try to reduce your sugar intake, or getting back to what we were saying before, you should try to cut back on your sugar intake. Wow, fancy, right? Very good. Now, Anthony, yeah, you were close because you went for take in. But as you see, this one is a little bit different, and that's what we're going to focus on next. Okay, good for you. Now, this one. What do you call people who are standing by while something is happening but they are not taking place? So people who are witnessing something. They're standing there, they're standing by, they're watching it, but they're not participating. What do you call it? What do you call them? You call them bystanders. Bystanders. This is a noun. This is people or a person who stands by. So you start here with the preposition. You've got the verb there. And then, of course, you put ER. Selma, you got it too. Good for you. Leanne, too. Good. Put the ERS because ER is the person, right? Teach, teacher. Stand, stander, technically, right? So a bystander. So let me show you the sentence. Police kept bystanders back as firefighters arrived on the scene. I don't know if my picture really goes with that sentence or not. It doesn't look like the scene of a fire. It looks like something a little bit more festive, maybe. All right. Interesting. Now, good one, Astha. You said passerby is very close in meaning. A passerby is a person who is passing by. A bystander is somebody who's standing by and watching. right? Now another one, similar to bystanders and passers-by, is onlookers. Okay? Yeah, no, it looks. I thought the picture was from Russia. I think you're right, Andre. I know that it has nothing to do with firefighters or anything like that, but that's fine. It's a scene. Good. Spectators. So police kept onlookers back. Onlookers, people who are looking on, witnessing, watching. The bystanders watch a festival. Z versus Z. Good for you. Okay. Now this is type 2 of nouns formed from phrasal verbs, and that is the nouns that start with the preposition. So you kind of flip them, you invert them, and you go preposition and then verb. Okay? That one's new to you, CF teaching. It's always good to see that. All right? It warms my heart to show you something new. All right, so preposition plus verb is the second type. Like underpass, right? A passageway that you use to pass under a road. The opposite of overpass, right? Beholders, AK. Yeah, beholder is good. Beholder is very old-fashioned. Okay, I would say it's a very old word that we don't use so much anymore. Okay, so, but it is a word in English for sure. Underpass. Downpour. When rain pours down, it is a downpour. Somebody was talking about rain. I don't know who said it's raining where they are. Perhaps it is a downpour where you are. Okay, so we got caught in a downpour and had to get shelter in a creepy underpass. Right? It sounds low. This sounds like the beginning of a horror movie or something. I know Halloween is over, but it sounds creepy, right? A young couple going into a creepy underpass to hide from a downpour. Steve is saying, lo and behold, yes. That is a common expression. That's fine. Good for you. And Karen, you didn't know there were so many noun phrasal verbs? Yes, there's such a long list of them. So many. All right? So sometimes it's important to know that these nouns, the noun itself is actually more common than the phrasal verb. Now, the other ones that we looked at, like get together, come back, break down, these are all very familiar and common phrasal verbs, but some nouns that come from phrasal verbs are actually, the verb itself is not very common, but the noun is. Words like backlash, outcry, influx. These are nouns that come from phrasal verbs originally, but the phrasal verb itself, lash back, not very common. Okay? Now, backlash and outcry are both connected to negative reaction, people getting angry about something. Influx means a large amount of people or something arriving. All right? So let's look at a couple examples here. Oh, Starbucks. Starbucks with their new cup. Wow, so nice. Well, this was a headline that I read last night. All right? Starbucks debuts new green cups and receives backlash immediately. Backlash meaning a strong negative reaction from the public. In the days of the internet, basically everybody can get backlash immediately, right? I guess people don't like the green cup. That's too bad. I don't mind it, as I think it's okay. Here's the protesters again. There was a public outcry in response to the politicians' comments, right? So outcry, again, meaning a strong, negative, public response, right? But the verb cry out, not really that common in this context. All right, one more. Canada, of course, from time to time, gets an influx of immigrants, a sudden arrival of lots of people from other countries. That's what Canada's all about. As the saying criticize, yeah, criticism, strong, harsh criticism is backlash. If you look up the word backlash in Google and press news, you'll see lots of news stories about politicians receiving backlash, actors receiving backlash, people getting angry because Johnny Depp is in the next Harry Potter movie or something. People are angry out there. There's lots of backlash. Okay. And one more tip. Sometimes the meaning of the phrasal verb and the noun are different. Okay. Sometimes when you put those verbs together and create a noun, the meaning can change. So you have to be careful. Alejandro's saying that influx is like a crowd. Yeah, it's like a large number of people arriving, right? A sudden increase of people arriving. It doesn't have to be people. It could be things as well. Okay? So check out this sentence. It's important to maintain a positive outlook. A positive outlook. Now in this sentence, outlook comes from look out, but very different meaning. Outlook means your perspective, your view, right? A positive frame of mind. It's important to stay positive. But if you think about the verb look out, it's very different. Look out just means kind of be careful or watch out for something, right? Take over and overtake. Good example there too, right? Look out, outlook, and the noun look out as the noun. Look out and outlook, very different. Okay? Outlook is your perspective, your view, kind of the way you think about something. Look out as the verb and look out as the noun is kind of a place where you can stand and enjoy a view. So this is a beautiful lookout from the top of a mountain. Yeah? Opinion or kind of view for outlook. That's exactly right. Andre, good for you. Okay, so how are we doing for time here? Yeah, we've got time. We've got time. I'm going to get you guys to do one more little exercise. Okay, it'll be quick, and then we'll do the mistake of the week. We've got over 10 minutes. We've got time here, I think. Okay? So go back into this exercise. If you don't have it, I will put it in there again. All right, you can go back here, or you can just look on the screen, because I'm going to keep it on the screen for everybody to see. Had to turn off my mic to cough there for you. I did that for you. All right. So how about this? 5 sentences, the same idea as the previous exercise, but now we're looking at nouns that start with the preposition. Okay? Drawback, outburst, outcome, outbreak, onset, and update. Still, you think we still have 30 minutes? Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll get you the mistake of the week, don't worry. But it depends on how fast you guys are with this exercise. So you have to, again, take one of these nouns and replace the text in blue with one of these nouns from phrasal verbs. Okay? Now I'll do one just to speed it up a little bit and to be nice. The symptoms become apparent right from the beginning stage of the disease. The answer there is onset. And perhaps that, for some of you, is a new word. The onset of an illness, the onset of a disease. Alex got it, Navjot got it, good for you guys, right? It means the beginning. Usually we use it to mean the beginning of something like an illness or disease. We don't use it for the beginning of, say, a class or a movie, okay? So again, I'm going to give my voice a break. I'm going to go cough a little. You guys do those 4 sentences really quickly, and then we'll go over it. Selma, I know you got that one wrong, but that's okay. We all make mistakes occasionally, even me, all right? So get to work. I'll say 2 minutes, and then I'm coming back, okay? Go for it. Wow, you guys crushed it there. You were just cranking them out so quickly. Hey, Pescoa, good for you. All right, so let's go over a few of these here. Oh yeah, Alejandra, I think you came in a little bit late. I think you're doing the first exercise maybe. We're on the second one here. Okay, so B, we said she wrote an email to all staff members apologizing for her strong expression of anger during yesterday's meeting. And especially for this one, I probably should have also said not just strong, but sudden. A sudden, strong expression of anger. And Andre, you got it. Leanne, I think I saw you got it too. What did Pescoa say? Pescoa, no, not quite with that one. I would say, really the word you're looking for is burst, right? Because burst means to kind of to pop, right? Like a balloon will burst, right? It will break. So outburst is a sudden expression of anger, right? You burst out in anger. Sometimes you burst out in laughter as well. Yeah, but usually I don't think I'd use outburst for laughter. Usually it means a strong, angry reaction. So she had to apologize for getting so angry in the meeting. Okay, C, disadvantages. Now again, I think some of these you probably are familiar with, but you hadn't maybe considered that they're connected to phrasal verbs. One mistake I realized that I just made, this one doesn't belong in there. Drawback, it's different because it starts with a verb and then preposition. But it is the answer for this one. And you guys got it. Oops. Hey, where we go? Do that again. So disadvantage, another word for disadvantage is drawback. Put an S on there because it's many. But yeah, that shouldn't be on that list. As you can tell, that is clearly a verb and a preposition afterwards. So see, Selma, see? I made a mistake. I make mistakes too. It's okay. All right, what about D? Many people are anxiously awaiting to see what the results of the presidential election will be. That's true. Who's going to answer for that one? Marwa. You got it. Good for you. Let me see one more. Yomera. Got it too. Good for you. So outcome is the result, the consequences of something that follows as a consequence. So what will be the outcome of the election? All right. And the last one, a sudden rise in incidence of a disease. So many say that the sudden rise in incidence of the disease is due to the number of people choosing not to vaccinate their children. Anthony got outcome, good for you. And who's got it? Yomara, you got it again, good for you. Selma, yeah, good. Sohag, not quite. Good try. Raul, you got it. I think you have a slight spelling mistake there, but that's okay, you got it there. So the outbreak of a disease or an outbreak of war is another common collocation, right? Something that suddenly happens or rises. Asta got it too, good for you. Now in this case, the one that's not used is update, which again is one of these nouns that really the phrasal verb to date up is not used. Okay, good for you. All right, so 2 things to show you before we run away. Okay, don't worry, we've got time. I'll show you one more thing here, and then we'll do the mistake of the week. Selma, I wouldn't use outburst for outbreak. No, an outburst of disease, I wouldn't say so. Outburst, burst is more of the reaction to something, okay, the expression. Outbreak is the sudden happening of something. So a sudden rise in something is outbreak, like war, disease, that kind of thing. Leanne got it perfect. Good for you. Okay, so one more thing before we go. I want to show you type 3, which is a preposition with an ing verb, or an ing verb with the preposition. Okay, so, for example, there was a public outcry. I keep using the same picture of outcry or public protest, walk out. All right, there was a public outcry in response to the closing down of 10 public schools. Now, in this sentence, closing down, you've got that ing verb, then the preposition connected with a hyphen. I would hyphenate it with the ing there. But that just means the closure of 10 public schools. Closure or closing down would be synonyms. Steve, you're going to listen to this lesson when you drive? Good. Okay, but pay attention to the road as well. Okay? All right, one more example. There was an outpouring of public support when people read her story on Facebook. Okay, so outpouring, pouring out, having to do with, as we said, as in the sentence, support. So much support comes out from people. Now, in this case, you're putting the ing there. You cannot say an outpour. And that's the trick of English vocabulary. You can say a downpour, an outpouring, not a downpouring, and not an outpour. All right? I apologize. On behalf of English, I apologize. All right. Ifra, thank you very much. I'm a fantastic teacher. Well, you guys are fantastic students. You guys you bring out the best in me. How about that? All right? It's easy to teach you guys. Yeah, you make it fun. So how about this? Because I don't want a strong backlash, I want to prevent an outcry from you guys, or a walkout. Although it would be weird if you guys had a walkout, because most of you are just at home alone, I think. I don't want to walk out, so we're going to do the mistake of the week. All right? Yeah, we've got time. It's 10 o'clock, but we can stretch it for a few minutes, because I know that you guys are going to do this so quickly that it's going to take no time at all. Monkey Master 90,000, you are in class? I don't know if that's a good thing or not. You're in class and you're watching me? That's funny. Don't tell your teacher. All right, the mistake of the week. All right, I'm going to put a sentence here on the screen, and you guys can take 10 seconds and find me the mistake. Can you spot the mistake? And Leanne, this one's for you. You seem pretty fast today. Let's see if you can be the fastest person, the first person to find this mistake, all right? Let's see what you can do. So there's a mistake in the sentence. I'm popping off the screen. I'm going to put the music on for like 5-10 seconds. Find me this common English mistake, all right? Here we go. All right. I managed to trick a few people. I love throwing little things to distract you, to try to throw you off, just because it gives me pleasure to do so. But I could not fool Asta. She is the quickest on the draw for this one. You're absolutely right. Aldorian, you came in just second place. Good for you. Alex, you got it. Several of you, and that's okay. Of course you did, because I did this on purpose. You thought maybe that this was the mistake here. But this is not a mistake, because let down is the verb. So although many critics were let down by his performance in the film, let down is the verb. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't like that anymore. Okay. Others considered it his breakthrough role. Okay? Now the problem with that is that breakthrough role, that is a noun functioning almost like an adjective, like a compound noun, right? Breakthrough role. So, yeah, I know, I fooled you. I fooled some of you. Yeah? You gotta be sharp to keep up with me, you know? So I put them together like so. Considered it his breakthrough role. I know, Monkey Master, I didn't have a picture of Leo up there this time. I usually put Leonardo up there, but I don't even know if critics have ever been let down by Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in a film. I'm not sure. But in this case, breakthrough is your mistake, because it cannot be separated. If it's separated, it is a verb. And breakthrough is definitely a phrasal verb, right? But as a noun, breakthrough, or in this case, kind of functioning as an adjective, in this compound noun, it means that performance or that idea that takes you into kind of the next stage. A breakthrough for a company is that thing that pushes the company into kind of success, where success starts. All right. So good for you guys. Asta, you're the fastest on the draw today. And well, good job, everybody. Yeah. Okay. So that means, oh, sadly, what a letdown for you. What a letdown that it is time to say goodbye. I see Fetty is just saying hello, but it's sadly time to say goodbye, right? Oh yeah, before I go, who mentioned shutting down? Somebody said shutting down. Who was that? Is that Alejandra? Oh, I don't know where it went. Somebody asked a question about shutting down rather than closing down, and that's fine. You could definitely say that. Okay. So let me jump back to my peachy, orangey screen. Monkey Master's hiding in the basement. Good for you. Fantabulous, AK. All right. Moaz is saying you wrote breakthrough with a hyphen. I think it's okay. Unnecessary though, but not a huge deal either way. I think it's fine. Okay. Okay. So it's a good thing I'm saying goodbye, because I can tell my voice is on the way out. So I'm gonna rest it for a week. I'm not gonna talk to anybody for the entire week, so that I have a voice for you guys next Thursday. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Thursday morning, 9 o'clock Vancouver time, here at the Canadian College of English Language. Valerie was asking for a link. I put the link to our school here in Vancouver. If you get a chance to study abroad, check it out. But if you're only able to join me virtually here in the class, that's great too. I look forward to it every week. Alejandro, I love talking. I know, it's true. It's very upsetting when I'm cold, because I really like the sound of my own voice, right? All right. So we'll see you next time. Keep watching the other classes. Neil, Nicole, Josh, Mark, all of these teachers have great classes out there for you guys to see throughout the week. I'm here next Thursday as usual. And until then, keep practicing your English. Keep using your nouns formed from phrasal verbs. like us on Facebook, like this video on YouTube, join the group Learn English on Facebook, tell your family, tell your friends, and we'll see you here next time. Let's keep trying to grow this super cool classroom, okay? So until next time, guys, thanks again, and we'll see you later. All right.